In 1907, a single trader made so much money betting against the stock market that Wall Street wanted him gone. Not investigated, not warned, gone. By 1929, that same man pulled off what many still call the greatest trade in American history, walking away with an estimated $100 million, while the rest of America financially drowned. He predicted the collapse of the world's most powerful economy before almost anyone else saw it coming. He was feared, admired, copied, and completely obsessed with the market. But despite making millions of dollars multiple times, Jesse Livermore kept losing everything again and again. His greatest enemy was never the market itself. It was the man in the mirror. This is the story of one of the most dangerous traders Wall Street ever produced, and why intelligence alone was never enough to save him. Because in the end, the market was not what destroyed Jesse Livermore. It was his inability to master himself.
Jesse Livermore was born in 1877 on a struggling farm in rural Massachusetts. His father wanted him working the fields, living a simple life with limited expectations. Jesse wanted something else entirely. He was fascinated by numbers, patterns, and probability. At just 14 years old, he left home and moved alone to Boston. No safety net, no connections, just an unexplained hunger pulling him towards something bigger. He found work in a brokerage office, writing stock prices on a large chalkboard as they arrived from the ticker. By modern standards, it sounded painfully boring. But in the late 1800s, it placed him directly inside the beating heart of American capitalism. As prices constantly moved, Jesse noticed something most adults missed. Markets behaved like people. Greedy people. Fearful people. Emotional people. He memorized patterns and studied reactions. Without fully realizing it, Jesse Livermore was teaching himself market psychology at an age when most boys were still playing childish games. Soon, he decided to place his own bets.
Across America during the late 1800s were places called bucket shops. They looked professional from the outside, almost like real stock exchanges. But inside, they operated more like gambling dens, with cleaner furniture. People could walk in and bet on whether stock prices would rise or fall. No real stocks were purchased. No assets changed hands. It was pure speculation. Jesse entered these rooms and quickly became dangerous. He stayed calm while everyone else panicked. He remained patient while others chased excitement. And when he recognized a pattern he trusted, he attacked with confidence. By the age of 15, Jesse reportedly turned tiny amounts of money into thousands of dollars. In the 1890s, that was life-changing wealth. Bucket shop owners soon noticed the skinny teenager winning far too consistently. One after another, they banned him. Not for cheating, not for breaking rules, simply because he understood probability better than the game itself. But Jesse was not discouraged. The bucket shops were only practice. His real target was Wall Street. And Wall Street would prove far more brutal.
When Jesse arrived in New York, he carried absolute confidence in his instincts. That confidence immediately became dangerous. The real market was nothing like the bucket shops. Bigger players moved entire sectors. Powerful institutions manipulated prices behind polished financial language. And beneath everything sat raw human emotion, amplified on a massive scale. Jesse lost money almost immediately. Then more. Then nearly everything he had built. That painful cycle became the defining rhythm of his life. Build a fortune, lose a fortune, rebuild it, destroy it again. Not because he lacked intelligence, but because success inflated his confidence beyond reason. The market has a specific relationship with overconfident people. It waits patiently before introducing them to pain. Still, Jesse kept learning. Eventually, he discovered the insight that separated him from most traders. Big money was not made through constant activity. It was made through patience, waiting carefully, watching closely. And then, when the moment finally arrived, betting with full conviction. Most traders could never master that discipline. Jesse slowly forced himself to learn it. And that changed everything.
In 1907, America entered a severe financial crisis, later called the Panic of 1907. Banks began collapsing. Investors panicked. Crowds gathered outside financial institutions, desperate to withdraw savings before everything disappeared. While most people scrambled emotionally, Jesse Livermore stayed calm. He saw the collapse coming. Instead of buying stocks, Jesse began short selling, betting prices would continue falling. In simple terms, he earned money as conditions became worse. And conditions became far worse. As markets collapsed around him, Jesse made millions. Newspapers called him a market wizard. Wall Street finally respected the man they once dismissed as reckless. The same traders who mocked him now desperately wanted to understand how he predicted disaster before almost everyone else did. Success transformed his life overnight. Expensive homes, luxury cars, elegant suits, and fame followed him everywhere. But fame is one of the most dangerous things that can happen to a trader. Because once people begin calling you brilliant, you slowly start believing you cannot fail. And the market does not care about reputation, confidence, or applause. It only cares about reality. By 1929, America felt unstoppable. Stocks climbed endlessly. Property values exploded. Consumer spending soared. Ordinary people suddenly believed wealth was permanent. Everyone became an expert. Neighbors discussed investments. Barbers gave stock advice between haircuts. Investors borrowed heavily to buy even more shares. Speculation detached completely from reality. But Jesse Livermore noticed something almost nobody wanted to admit. The market had become dangerously irrational. And irrational markets rarely collapse slowly. They collapse violently. Quietly and carefully, Jesse positioned himself against the market over several months. He built enormous short positions while the rest of the country celebrated endless prosperity. Then came October 1929, the crash. Within days, fortunes vanished. Investors panicked. Financial confidence evaporated. People who borrowed heavily suddenly faced debts they could never repay. While the country financially drowned, Jesse Livermore reportedly made around $100 million. Adjusted for today's value, it would equal billions. He became one of the most feared and admired traders on earth. But even during his greatest triumph, something inside him was already beginning to break. Extreme success does not simply create wealth. It creates pressure, expectations, and the exhausting burden of maintaining the image of genius. Once the world decides you are brilliant, every future mistake becomes magnified. Jesse had spent decades learning rules that made him successful. Cut losses quickly, stay patient, control risk, never allow emotion to overpower logic. Simple rules, easy to understand, almost impossible to follow consistently. Over time, Jesse began abandoning those principles. He took larger risks than discipline allowed. He made emotional decisions instead of logical ones. He slowly lost the patience that built his fortune. And gradually, the money disappeared again. People close to him noticed visible changes. Pressure consumed him. Isolation grew heavier. The constant stress of protecting his reputation destroyed him internally. The glamorous image of trading hid a darker reality: anxiety, obsession, fear. Markets never truly leave a trader's mind. They follow him home, into dinner, into sleep, into every silent moment. By the late 1930s, Jesse Livermore's financial situation had collapsed severely. And in 1940, at 63 years old, his story ended tragically. More than 80 years later, Jesse Livermore is still studied on trading floors and in financial classrooms. Not because his story is simply inspiring, but because it is brutally honest.
Jesse spent his entire life trying to understand markets. Few people in history came closer. Yet the one thing he never fully understood was himself. Markets are not really just numbers. They are mirrors reflecting fear, greed, hope, ego, and emotion disguised behind financial language. Jesse once said, "The market is never wrong. Opinions often are." That observation still feels painfully accurate today. History was never truly about money. It was about what happens when obsession replaces discipline, when ego replaces judgment, and when success convinces intelligent people the rules no longer apply to them. Because money without discipline disappears. Success without self-control collapses. And intelligence without emotional control accelerates destruction. The real battle in trading, and honestly in life itself, is patience against impulse, discipline against ego, logic against emotional desire. Master yourself first. Everything else follows.